All right, welcome back. We're here yet again for another lovely episode. I think we are on to 17 or 18 of these,
Woo!
Whoa.
which is a lot if you think about it. It means we've been doing this for a couple months now,
Yeah.
quite a few. I mean, it's a wonder that we've stayed consistent with this. Some would say, usually some people quit after about the first month or two. No, we're not discouraged.
Not us.
And I will say, I've been looking at the YouTube thing. We get views. We get quite a few views after we go live, which is great.
Yeah.
And then also we're getting comments from random people.
That's also awesome.
I
We're
will
growing.
say, some guy. I'll read his comment because it's actually very interesting. Before we start this show, it's about Cooper Flag.
Okay.
Brian Blockchain 6039. Isn't blockchain like Bitcoin and stuff like
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Okay. So we're in the Bitcoin community. We must be the sports podcast for Bitcoin,
We should get sponsored.
which is great. He said a high school kid has never skipped his senior year of high school, which Cooper Flag did, and became a college player of the year, which Cooper Flag did. And he did it during a year with fifth-year seniors. We've never seen this before. So, yeah, Cooper Flag is generational. Only 3 players in NCAA history have led team in every category. Highest BPR and OBPR. That's a Bitcoin guy right there. In NCAA last year.
BPR.
Second
knows-
highest box plus minus behind his teammate. His advanced stats are unreal. Sounds like a Bitcoin bro, which is great that we're in that community. But I thought that was a very interesting comment. I never thought about it that way.
It could be a Cooper Flag burner account though.
It could be, which is great if Cooper Flag is watching.
That would be awesome.
He's Brian Blockchain,
Yeah.
6039. Brian, we appreciate the comment. If you want to give us some Bitcoin, that'd be great. I hear that stuff is expensive right now. I can give you some ETH or whatever the other coins are called.
Ether.
There we go.
This is how you guys are going to buy your house is you can actually write off cryptocurrency as an asset for like a mortgage or whatever nowadays. So
Really?
when you finance your houses with a fart coin you do, come talking to me because that's what's going to get you that mortgage of your dreams.
Let's just make our own coin at this point. The V.O.C. coin. I think
Whole
that's
town
great.
of Cassopolis. That's the town of Cassopolis' currency.
Yeah, we'll make like a little pyramid scheme and we'll dominate.
Don't put on tape.
That's fine. I don't care.
That's pre. That's a pre-show meeting.
I talked to a lady yesterday at Sandbar, and she was like, "Have you LLC'd yourself?" Because I freelance. And I was like, "No, I haven't." She goes, "Do it because you can write everything off." And I was like, "I don't know about all that. I don't know if I can write everything off, but I will probably corporize myself to figure it out."
Yeah, I love that.
It's a great all until you have to pay double Social Security tax for both you and the government because you're your own LLC. So
yeah, but she's like,
shout
"You
out to
can
that
write."
woman at the sandbar giving you, try
She
to
was
put you
like,
on
"You can
game.
write everything off," and I'm like, "I just met you, and you're telling me I can write everything off. This sounds like you're gonna get me in some sketchy stuff. Prison time is gonna be calling my name."
We at the show here want to make it very clear we are not tax experts. We are not
We're
financial experts. Do not follow any of our financial advice, and please consult those types of people before you make these decisions. That includes you, Kayla. We're not going to make the V.O.C. Enterprises today here live. Maybe post show if you pull that one off. But
yeah, I don't even know.
Don't ask me and Trevor.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
She told me basically what you do is you basically hire an attorney and an accountant, pay them each $500, and have them fill out the paperwork for you. And
Oh, you're getting Saul Goodman. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
yeah, I was like, "What is this?" I was like, "Lady, you're scaring me at this point. With how much you know how to corrupt the system."
She got Saul Goodman, man. That's amazing.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty sick.
that accountant and that lawyer only take cash.
yeah. Oh, I'm sure. She's from Chicago, so Jerry, I don't know what you
Yeah,
guys got
come on,
going on
come on.
over there, but
Hey,
she's from the bigger city, coming to the smaller town to tell us how to run stuff. Maybe mafia.
a little
Could
bit of
be.
mafia, or they're just trying to redevelop the Cassopolis into a booming metropolitan
Hey,
or whatever.
We're big
So,
time now. We have more
Yeah,
than one restaurant now.
Yeah, there you go. Financed
Um,
by that lawyer.
Speaking of restaurants, Joey Chestnut ate yesterday. He came back and he ate at the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. He won his 17th title, which I don't know if this is his most impressive one. Me and Trevor were talking last night about when he like was eating the hot dogs a couple years ago and fought the protester back as well. I think that's pretty impressive. But he misses a year over like he signed with some vegan dog or whatever. So Nathan said you can't compete. They worked it out this year. He comes back, eats 70 and a half hot dogs, which is not his record. He wanted 80. I didn't watch it, so I don't know what happened. But pretty impressive to be off a whole year and to come back the way that he did. No surprise. This guy is just
Dominant.
amazing.
Yeah.
I love talking about Joey Chestnut, like a bunch of guys in the MLB who it's like, yeah, we can't. You didn't go for a year because of a contract dispute. This is a once in a year event that we're having contract disputes about. That is great that we are. This is very much a professional sport. And also shout out to Joey Chestnut's teeth. That is the one thing I heard about multiple times this weekend as I enjoyed my 4th of July weekend here in the great city of St. Louis was the state and terrible state that Joey Chestnut's teeth are in. Both color and form. And I'm like, I cannot believe that's the attention to detail you decided to pick. Not the fact he ate 70 plus dogs or 70 dogs, right? It is, oh, wow, his teeth don't look good. Really? Look what he does for a living.
His teeth are perfect for what he does, apparently.
Yeah, he'll get veneers when he retires.
Yeah, he doesn't need that right now.
No, maybe the jagged teeth helps him, actually.
Well, every time he wins one of these things, which he has done 17 times, he wins $10,000.
That's it?
I mean, dude, that's $170,000 he's won from just winning these competitions.
Maybe he's winning 10,000, writing everything else off.
That's true. He could have his own LLC.
Just that LLC, baby.
I heard this is an interesting conversation, but my brother asked me this, and he disagrees with me about if Joey Chestnut and Usain Bolt they had to eat a hot dog and then run 100 meters. Okay, there we go. There we go.
He literally just has this comment as well. This is crazy. Welcome back, Luke Oxy. Yeah, Usain Bolt versus Joey Chestnut have to eat a hot dog and then run 100 meters. Who's winning?
Okay, so this is because 100 meters. What is like a Usain Bolt 100 meter? It's like 9
seconds, right?
Yeah, it's like crazy, and he's a big dude. Like Usain Bolt is not a small man. So I think, but the thing is that Joey Chestnut's gonna eat that hot dog in 1 second. And then, like the average person, let's say he runs like 15 seconds. That's reasonable, right?
So Usain Bolt's is 9.58 seconds.
What is like the average person running 100 meter? Because I guess that's the number we're just going to give Joey Chestnut.
All right, average piece between 14 and 17 seconds.
Okay, so we'll say 17 seconds. So if Usain Bolt ate the hot dog in under 10 seconds, he's probably got a pretty good chance of then catching Joey Chestnut. And then now this is like prime Usain Bolt, right? He's going to be running. He's going to be moving
versus prime Usain Bolt.
Yeah. So I mean, he can't take longer than 10 seconds, I think, which I don't think he would.
So you have to eat the hot dog, do like Fear Factor, stick your tongue out, and then you get to go.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I was telling my brother, I was like, he could just pop the hot dog in his mouth and then run. And then I was talking to my brother about this, if it was run 100 meters and then eat the hot dog, if that changes anything. But I guess we'll talk about this one first.
So what did your brother say?
He said Joey Chestnut would win this. Now, I don't think he's fully appreciating. Yeah.
Luke Oxy is also saying that Joey Chestnut.
I agree. This is a Chestnut win.
Really? Dude, that is crazy.
I'm going to disagree. I think Usain Bolt wins this.
Because I think we are sleeping on the fact that Usain Bolt could probably eat a hot dog in like 4 seconds. 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah, he could.
It's a talent to eat as fast as you like, because Joey Chestnut doesn't eat necessarily.
No, yeah.
He's basically stuffing. Like,
he just ingests himself, yeah.
Yeah, like, and I think in return, Usain Bolt's going to eat.
Yeah.
And like the time being made up for that makes it harder for me, because we're also, even though we're talking about prime Usain Bolt, right? He's stretched, warmed up, he gets in a certain position. He doesn't get all that luxury, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like, it would be tight, but I think the time it takes Joey Chestnut to eat the hot dog in comparison, like, even though it doesn't feel like it'd take that long, it's taking Usain Bolt more than 4 seconds.
Yeah,
because he eats like all of us.
I mean,
if you ever eat a hot dog in under 5 seconds,
I mean,
Not
if I
even
needed
close.
to.
No
There was
way.
money on the line.
No way you fear factor mouth done in 5 seconds.
Yeah, but
'Cause
just
here-
because Joey Chestnut can eat 70 dogs in 10 minutes doesn't mean he can maybe eat one very fast. Because you got to remember, he's got to like jump up. He's got to dunk in the water. Usain Bolt's not going to dunk it in water. Usain Bolt's just going to stuff it in.
Well, yeah, that's true too. And like what I'm envisioning is that there is no dunking. You just get a hot dog in your hand.
Yeah, you got to get a hot dog and you just eat
You
it.
just got to eat it.
Run.
Now, I think the thing that makes Joey Chestnut so impressive is that not only does he eat them fast, I think the most impressive thing is the sheer quantity of hot dog that he is ingesting. Now, if it was like eat 10, and there's no way, like Usain Bolt stands zero chance.
Yeah, no.
But like I'm saying, like one hot dog, I think Usain Bolt could get one down relatively quick.
He could get it down quick, but we are discounting how fast in return Joey Chestnut will get the thing down. And then also playing catch up. I think that's the other thing too. Is like, yeah, Usain Bolt maybe 10 times faster than Joey Chestnut, but if you have a 70-meter head start, that's harder to beat because it's not like pure time of like, oh, hot dog, boom. It's like hot dog plus getting it going. So like you're adding on the fact that Joey Chestnut's basically starting. Let's say he, has a 4 to 5 second thing. Let's give Usain Bolt 10 seconds. Let's say he eats it in 10 seconds and Joey Chestnut eats it in 5, right? If you're starting with a 40-meter lead, that's a little bit of a different story in my mind because that's where I see it being a little bit more challenging.
Right. I asked ChatGPT.
Oh god. Oh god.
So ChatGPT,
this is how you get the crypto accounts.
ChatGPT basically broke it down as the hot dog eating part. Joey Chestnut is the world's greatest hot dog eater. He can eat a hot dog, bun included, in roughly 5 to 7 seconds.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Usain Bolt they're saying that he's a faster eater than a regular person. I don't know.
I would say so.
He's just fast. He's
a big dude.
But nowhere near close. So they're guessing that it's roughly going to take him 12 to 15 seconds to eat one hot dog.
Okay.
And then the running part is they're going to go with Usain Bolt's record is 9.58, but they're going to say that it's anywhere 10 seconds.
Yeah.
What he's going to run. And they're saying that Joey Chestnut is going to run roughly around 15 to 18 seconds, like we said. So ChatGPT did the math. They gave Chestnut 6 seconds for a hot dog, 16 seconds for the run, which comes out to 22 seconds. For Usain Bolt, 14 and 10.3 seconds comes out 24 points.
Yeah.
So ChatGPT has Joey Chestnut winning the 100-meter hot dog race.
Well, I think this is the clearest thing that we could offer is that Netflix needs to make this happen.
Yeah. So basically, ChatGPT is saying with no training, Chestnut wins. If Usain Bolt trains, he wins.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you give Usain Bolt a week to figure out how to eat a hot dog like quickly, this is a different story. But if we're just lining them up tomorrow, right? Pick wherever and saying do this, I think that it just we are discounting how long it takes to eat a hot dog. Like fully eat and have it down, like we said, like fear factor, nothing left. Where like Joey Chestnut may be able to get that thing down in 2 legitimate bites and have it down quickly. Where Usain Bolt might, even if he takes a really good first bite, right? Like you still have to like he doesn't know how to play that game. Everyone knows how to run.
Yeah.
Now maybe not run and break a world record, but like everyone knows has like the basic idea. Like okay, I just need to move legs as fast as possible. That's
do you want to know? Do you want to know 2 hot dogs in 200 meters?
That's what dude. So what I was thinking is if it was any farther than 100 meters, Usain Bolt has this.
I agree with that.
So Nolan's taking Usain Bolt. Creepy photo, Nolan Mark, Bolt all day. So this is what ChatGPT is saying for 2 hot dogs, 200 meters. Chestnut's eat time would be 12 seconds. Bolt's is 28. Chestnut's run time would be 40 seconds. Bolt's would be 21.
Yeah.
Coming out to be 52 Chestnut and 49 Usain Bolt.
Yeah. Yep. That totally makes sense. The part that gets me is saying that because ultimately Joey Chestnut beats Usain Bolt in a race, and that is
that's basically what it is.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm having such a hard time like getting through is that like Joey Chestnut beats Usain Bolt at some point in a foot-to-foot race. Yeah, granted, he's gonna have a head start, all that stuff, but that's a mental block that I'm having.
It's a fair one, but I think 100 meters is that perfect distance.
Yeah, I agree.
You go to even 150.
Yes,
It's probably more of a coin toss, but I think the time made up for such a short distance
yes,
is kind of what makes this interesting, because all those seconds do add up when we're talking about a thing that takes 10 seconds for Olympians to do, right? So it's like, in Joey Chestnut's no Olympian, at least in the running circuit, in terms of eating food fastly. Yes, Hall of Famer, right? No doubt, GOAT, some would say.
yes.
But like, yeah, I think if you go any farther, the only way you counteract it is you would have to put in a lot more hot dogs. You'd have to do like 10 hot dogs for 200 meters.
Oh, then
the scale gets real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well, and another one that I would think is interesting. You guys know who Badlands is, right? The giant black guy who like drinks the lemonade.
Oh yeah.
Do that, dude, because he is a big man. Like, so like drink like that is such an insane. That's way worse than like 10 hot dogs, I think. Than drinking all that lemonade.
You could throw up after.
Yeah, like drinking one of those and then running 100 meters. I bet Badlands probably runs a 30-second 100 meter. But the amount of lemonade that he drinks, I'm actually a little more interested in that dynamic than maybe the Joey Chestnut Usain Bolt one. But
that feels like a terrible undercard.
Yeah.
like pick who was the one runner Richardson who got like suspended and all this.
Oh, Sha'Carri Richardson.
Yeah, put like Sha'Carri Richardson in that situation, the undercard, or Noah Lyles.
Yeah, put Noah Lyles.
Yeah.
He thinks he's faster than Usain Bolt, anyways.
Yeah, he thinks he's the best. Put him as the undercard. He'll have he'll feel like he's being disrespected because Usain Bolt's first, and he could throw up the lemonade. Like like,
someone's throwing up after that race without.
Oh, absolutely. They probably both will. Yeah.
It's like the Super Bowl betting on like the coin flip. Like, can you bet on both of them throwing up?
Over under on throw ups 1.5.
What color is the throw up? There you go. So they call it the Gatorade.
Dude, yeah, that is a fun little situation to run through your head, though. The whole Joey I think that is fun. I've heard people getting asked this like all day. And I keep going back and forth between everything. Yeah, that's sick, dude. I love that.
It's like Joey Chestnut. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, dude, it's so crazy that Joey Chestnut would win, but you guys have convinced me that he might win.
I went with Usain Bolt. I still think he could do it. I think you're determined to do it. I think he could do it. So I'm going to go with that.
And you know what? I feel like Joey Chestnut probably runs like slower than the average person.
Yeah, he looks very unathletic. His teeth may slow him down, some people could say.
They're not aerodynamic.
Our margin for error is 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
So it's not like, this is a very valid question, because it's not like ChatGPT doing actually all the math that none of us are smart enough to do. Is like, oh yeah, this is a 10-second gap. No, this is 2 seconds. That is Usain Bolt scarfing down the hot dog fast enough, or Joey Chestnut having an off moment. Like that is. This is a game of seconds. It's a game of inches. There's what some might say here. So no, I love this hypothetical, and I guarantee you that's exactly where Caleb thought we're going to go here as the leader of this esteemed program.
I love it. We just talked about that for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I could talk about it for another 20, dude. We could really get into the weeds, but we got much stuff we got to talk about.
We turned Joey Chestnut into 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Only this show and only in America.
That's right, baby.
Trevor, you brought up the Olympic sport for eating. I think it should be at this point.
Yeah.
Like, let's make the hot dog contest an Olympic sport. If we're going to do breakdancing as an Olympic sport, hot dog eating should be an Olympic sport.
Put it right next to the flag football people, and then it's a tailgate. You're welcome. And it's in LA.
It'll be before the flag football game.
You know what even funnier is, like, if you put in like a racetrack and the outside's the tailgate and the indoor pit is where the flag football field is. So it kind of feels like the stadium vibe of, like, obviously all your tailgates, majority of them outside of stadiums, right, in that surrounding area. So you put that real American feel. Of course, Los Angeles, of all places, known for tailgates, right? And then the inside, you get very NASCAR-esque. You're talking about the pit flag football, right, and all this stuff. Like, that would be so cool. Put in the Coliseum. There you go. It's not like
Well,
UFC has tailgates.
you could do that, or it's like what they do with the surfing. Like last time for the Olympics, the surfing was like 12 hours away. So this event, the hot dog eating contest, flag football, we put that in the South, and we go crazy. Like we go to let's go to like Daytona Speedway and do it there. They play football in the middle of Daytona. We fill up the track. We go nuts with this thing. Look, this is $1 billion idea. We just gave NBC and the Olympic Committee. What's more American than flag football and hot dog eating contests? There isn't much.
Nothing.
Dude, that third
In the
place game
South
in
at
Birmingham,
Daytona?
dude,
You
the
kidding
third
me,
place
dude?
game that they throw in like Birmingham, Alabama, because no one wants to watch it. The bronze medal flag football game at UAB Stadium. You're welcome. You're welcome.
This is golden. I mean, who else would think of $1 billion idea like us?
That's why the crypto guys watch us.
That's
You know
exactly
what?
what they're like. Oh,
Emerging
these
markets
guys
right here.
they're up on the next trend. Like, so when this happens, it probably won't happen in 2028. But when America gets the Olympics again in like 30 years, this is going to be a thing.
Dude,
That's what's
cannot
going to be
wait.
a thing.
The 2064 Olympics, Chicago, with the flag football.
Chicago. Wow, you think Chicago's still going to be standing?
It's better than any Florida or California right now. On the coast. I picked up just a big Midwest city because anything by an ocean right now with the way our world's working, who knows? That's not a guarantee, right? When Florida floats away, we're not hosting the Olympics in the Panhandle. That's literally disconnected.
I'm guessing Houston. That's my guess.
Oh, when Houston boils over.
Oh, it's going to happen. They're butted up in a great spot. All right, something else that's boiling over is the NBA offseason. Not too crazy this year, actually, because of that second apron stuff. I keep hearing this word, and I hate it. It's like, where's the other chef for the second apron? Usually it's one chef, one apron. But now there's a second apron going on, and money is pretty tight. Teams are kind of retaining their own players. LeBron opts in with the Lakers and then basically says that the Lakers team sucks, that he wants to be on a championship team, yet he opts into a $50 million contract. The Kevin Durant trade was official today, 7-team trade, largest trade in NBA history. A lot going all over the place. It's not been too, I remember, 10 years ago, NBA free agency was nuts. That's like when KD went to the Warriors or, Dwayne Wade leaves the Heat to go to the Bulls, like that kind of stuff. Not too much happening this year just because teams are kind of retaining their players and not doing a whole lot. But the Pacers, instead of going and paying the luxury tax, they let Miles Turner walk to the Milwaukee Bucks, which in essence kind of keeps Giannis, I would say, in Milwaukee. And by going and getting Miles Turner, they also had to cut Damian Lillard. So he is cut. He was going to be out all year anyways with a torn Achilles. DeAndre Ayton, the former number 1 overall pick, I would say over Luka, Shea, and Trae Young, I think that's what he's going to be known as, was cut by the Trailblazers. He's now a Laker. They get their center that they've wanted. And then I thought a sneaky move was D'Angelo Russell to the Mavericks. Kyrie's going to be out a little bit to start the year. They get D'Angelo Russell. Mavericks, I think, are actually a very good team on paper as you look at it right now. But nothing too crazy with the NBA offseason.
I like the point you made, Caleb, that a lot of teams are retaining talent and, not making all these insane moves. And it's partially because so many teams are already in a spot where they think they could do something. And I think that's not what we're used to. You don't have a lot of, I don't say it's the death of the big contract, right? There's still guys who are making their money, but the super team doesn't work in this current era. And that's what has led to our multiple different championships, champions in different years. But it leads to moments like this not being as fun. And that's okay. It's kind of the trade-off you have. I get it. The NBA offseason isn't as spectacular, but now you have more moments that teams and franchises will be looking at for years. I'm looking at Portland right now, weirdly. It is because of the two guys on the screen that will impact Portland indirectly, both Miles Turner and Damian Lillard, because they have future Bucks picks right there. So if the Bucks kind of fizzle out over time because they're trying to keep Giannis happy and there's only so much of a window there, if they start, not doing so hot at a certain point or move on, now those picks become just that much more valuable. There might be one or two more big moves to be made, but a lot of teams are confident where they are. And every once in a while you have an offseason like that, and that is what it is. The first apron, second apron stuff, that's just GMs complaining. Because now they can't basically do borderline baseball salaries and baseball contracts where it's like, oh yeah, our payroll $700 million. But it's like, no, if you stay and you keep overpaying all these years, you can't get a good draft pick. Like that's kind of the big thing. Or you can't sign a buyout guy, which for a lot of these teams that are trying to compete, that is a big deal, right? Because a guy like Damian Lillard is now in the market. He won't be picked up immediately. I don't think so. But when a team that's really hot, probably in the Eastern Conference is my guess, it's like we need that final piece. Damian Lillard's going to come in on a buyout or that early market, and it's going to be to a team that didn't go over the apron. It's just figuring out how to play with your money. You have to actually think a little bit. You can't just go into the luxury tax and pray. And for the teams that do, you're taking a risk. You know, a team that's in the second apron right now, Cleveland. That's a team. If I gave you 10 guesses, you wouldn't get to, right? But it's a totally different way of looking at the offseason. Yeah, it's not these big explosive moves necessarily, but when you have a lot of different teams that don't feel out of it, you're not going to have these blockbuster situations. And the biggest one being a guy who stayed in one team for 10 years going to a different team. Like that is what it is. But a lot of these moves will matter later in the year when a team like the Mavericks does a little bit better because they have D'Angelo Russell to back up, or DeAndre Ayton does just enough to not have the entire city of LA hate him. So piece by piece, and there's still plenty of time. Something can still go down. I don't think this is over by any means, but not every year you're going to get the 4th of July bomb that Kevin Durant's going to the Golden State Warriors. So here we are. It's a little slower, but I don't actually hate it.
Yeah, I mean, the second apron completely changes everything, right? Because if you go over it, you're taxed like $200+ million or something like that, and then how many ever years you're over it, you then lose draft area. It's funky. It changes it. So you have teams shedding salary, you have teams essentially not going for it, and kind of rebuilding to save money to then go for it when their players are healthy. The Celtics are one of those teams. So, it's not as crazy as it once was, but you do have these little moves that are kind of shuffling around. Like, what are the Pacers are basically saying that too, of like, hey, Halliburton's hurt. We don't want to pay the luxury tax. I don't think they've ever paid the luxury tax, people are saying. So they know with Halliburton hurt, we're not going to pay it. We're going to take a little step back. Maybe is there a chance for us to get a draft pick to maybe make a trade next offseason or whatnot? So, it is kind of impacting stuff because if Halliburton doesn't get injured, does Miles Turner then go to the Bucks? Probably not. Mm-hmm. So it's those little things that changes things. I will say, though, there are 2 teams in the East or 3 teams that have a lot of pressure with kind of how this stuff is shaking up. I would say the Magic, after making the Desmond Bane trade, the Cavs, with like Jerry said, is their team is basically all going to be back healthy this year. And then I would say the Knicks. I know they fired their coach, but now you have even more pressure because your team is pretty much staying the same. You don't really have the issues with the second apron. So now it's going to be put up or shut up for them. So there is more pressure on some of these teams with the wide open East and kind of how free agency is shaking out. But nothing too crazy. It's the NBA offseason. It could change. Something could happen. A trade could go through. Who knows? There wasn't many fireworks, but there was fireworks this weekend. I will go there. We're now going to talk about 4th of July. First of all, the creepy photo Nolan Mark here with ban the tush push. I think he's coming at you, Trevor, because you're
never
got your birds thing on. They tried to ban it, and it didn't go through. So creepy photo, go back to the basement. I will say about the creepy photos, he kind of told me where he took these photos at, and it's the funniest thing I've ever heard. So Nolan came over Friday for the 4th of July, stayed over, left yesterday. And we were talking about gym pictures because my uncle is also one of these people that are notorious for taking these gym pictures. I feel like they just go to the gym to take pictures. Like they go to the gym, they work very hard for like a year and a half to get shredded, and now they just go to the gym to take pictures. So Nolan, they were talking about pictures or whatever, and Nolan's like, yeah, I would go to the sauna to take these pictures.
Oh, heck yeah, dude.
And I thought it was the funniest thing ever. It's like, could you imagine trying to use the sauna and you got a guy just like shirt off, like just in there doing push-ups before to get, it's
He like passes out. Right, real quick before we get to the 4th of July thing, the Jello shots.
yeah.
I did want to kind of go back to the NBA thing and kind of get your guys' thoughts on like what potentially could happen with Damian Lillard. That kind of seems like the most like interesting part of what we just covered there. So, what do you guys maybe think his potential landing spots could be for him? Or I know we talked about the Magic and things like that, but I kind of just want to ask you guys what you thought.
He screams to me, and the hard part with Damian Lillard right now is the timeline. It depends. Again, we're talking about a guy who's 30 plus years old, who's coming off an injury that can, even though we've gotten better. I say we, but I haven't done anything for it. But like, Achilles injuries have become easier to come back from. There's more research. People, like, it's not as much of the death sentence as it once felt like. It's not a guarantee you come back the same way, especially, again, we're talking about a guy who's 35 plus years old. Damian gets a little bit of a pass because he's more of a shooter. It's not like he's a guy who's trying to dunk the ball every possession. This would be really bad for that. But he screams to me a team that is on the cusp of contending somewhere, or is trying to make that next step, and he goes for a contract that's a little too cheap. In a way, almost gives me Carmelo Anthony energy at some point, a guy who's a really good scorer, but then kind of got bounced around the league at the back end. I think Damian Lillard's a better team player. I know at one point Carmelo was kind of like, I got to start, or why am I doing this? I don't know if Damian Lillard's going to pull that same trick, or kind of pull that same, thought process. But I don't know if it's like a team like Orlando necessarily, but like it's either that or a team that loses a guard throughout the year, which that is very possible. Like the funny one would be Indiana, like a year later from now, like if Tyrese Halliburton's still recovering and all that, they're like, hey, we can get you real cheap. Atlanta Hawks with like Trae Young, that's a fun one too. But it depends on what role he wants to take and come back. He's a guy who's very ball dominant, who needs the ball to be successful, is very much of a deep shooter. So I could see him landing somewhere in the East for a team that's kind of on that spot. But the price point and also what his role looks like will answer more of those questions. And obviously it's way too early to really know. But stay in the East. I think teams are going to be looking in the East to do something. Like I even think of Detroit. That's another one that could be really interesting if they kind of progress faster than they think. But it really will be that price point. What price do you get Damian Lillard at, and what do you need him for? If you could find a middle ground with those, because this is a guy that is really fantastic, but is in those later years, that's a really hard question to have a good answer to.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm him, I wait till like All-Star break to even consider where I go to figure out what the teams look like. I wouldn't rush into it. Everybody's like, oh, he needs to go here and figure out his suitors, or people are like, oh, he's down to like 5 teams. No, he's not. He's going to take his time. If I'm him, he take his time. He's not going to play till at least like the playoffs next year, maybe like a little bit before that, probably March. So if I'm him, I just take my time. I look at the teams and kind of what shakes out. If there is an injury, you go to that team. If not, you go to a team where you're only going to be there like a couple months and you kind of help them in the playoffs, and then you go from there. You don't sign a long-term deal. He's getting paid $22 million the next 5 years from the Bucks. So it's not about money. So yeah, I mean, I can see him going to the Magic, a team like that. It just depends on what the East kind of looks like. The Pacers, if somehow the Pacers with Pascal Siakam are still kind of in it, I could see them going and getting him, that kind of way. I could see like the Nuggets maybe doing something to bring him off the bench potentially, to bolster their bench. So yeah, but if I'm him, I wait. I don't do anything crazy. I don't sign right away. I kind of focus on getting back, trying to get healthy as quick as I can and as best as I can. But yeah, I think he just waits, see what happens. It's one of those things where you just kind of see what the injuries look like, how it works out. I mean, if you want to get to a team a little bit earlier, say around Christmas, just so you can get around the guys and kind of get a feel for things, do that. But I foresee him taking his time and then probably going to a team that wants to make a push that is surprising. It's going to be a surprise team that he's going to go to, I feel like. It's going to be a team that we didn't think was going to be decent or somewhat have the chance that they did, and then he ends up going there. But, yeah, take your time. Don't do anything crazy, and just figure it out from there.
Yeah, so I was like looking it up, and the 3 teams that popped up were Boston, Los Angeles, the Lakers, and Golden State. Which I thought all of those would like be interesting, and like
Yeah.
they all obviously have their own pros and cons, and they're probably like the most clickbaity answers.
They
Like he's gonna go play with LeBron, and we're all bets
The
go to
Lakers-
die.
The Lakers is the most. The Lakers are
Yeah.
everything.
The
Yeah,
Golden State one is the funniest by far.
Mhm.
That is, we're getting into retirement home energy there.
Yeah.
If you bring in Damian Lillard, Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, like there was one graphic I saw with that, like Al Horford was also on it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like where are we
it's
going?
literally like a retirement home.
This really is the last ride. Like, man, like there's a lot of funny potential. It is again still so early. I think that's a great point, Caleb. But just like, you know, the market will kind of almost determine it in its own backwards way. But you know, we talk about Damian Lillard. He takes a lot of shots. I know he's not alone. Trevor, the floor is yours.
Woo! Okay, so I don't know if I kept like great track of how many I took, because there is at a point at the sandbar where things start to get a little blurry. Okay, you may have to poo, and there's nowhere to poo out there.
Have a bucket.
Yeah, or just the water itself. It's like God's bidet, or you know, the sun is being down on you, you know, and at the sandbar, dude, people are just throwing those things around. You walk past the boat, there's people on their boats trying to get rid of some Jello shots. Like Caleb said, Caleb alone, his boat had hundreds of Jello shots, multiple hundred of Jello shots,
200 plus, easy.
200 plus.
We made 130, and then somebody else brought like 100.
That's one boat. Okay. So I would say as a collective, the Diamond Lake Sandbar, they put a dent in the old whatever. What was our 50,000 number? There was a dent put in there, okay? Everybody and their mama got Jello shots out there. Okay. Now, personally, me consuming like I mean, 20 would be like a conservative amount. Yeah, I think I had probably 10 to 15 just from Caleb's boat alone.
Makes sense.
But I mean, like I said, when you're just walking around, especially when it gets to like 4 or 5 o'clock, people are just trying to get rid of these things. So they're just throwing them to anybody who looks like, and me, they're like, that dude wants multiple Jello shots right now.
They know you're on a mission, man.
They knew I was on a mission, dude.
They knew what we were out there for. They knew 50,000 was staring us down, and they wanted to help us out.
Hey, we have the crypto market behind us. Now.
That's true.
Yeah.
ChatGPT's taking shots for us at this point. So
Yeah.
Now, Caleb, what would you put your number at?
I would say in Friday and Saturday, I was about 10.
Okay.
I drank a little bit more Friday than I did Saturday, just because people.
You are the captain.
I had to get back.
Yeah.
I think that's things you got to get back. People they underestimate that. But as the captain, it's my duty to make sure my men and women make it back to the pier safely.
Mm-hmm.
And we did. So, yeah, I mean, I had more like Friday when I got back after we started bucket golf, started getting into some bucket golf. If anybody's played, it's great. We had the whole neighborhood around here. There's 1 million people that come up here around this time to a town of 1,700. So we played bucket golf for probably 5 hours. So doing Jello shots on that. I will say bucket golf makes you think that you're a better golfer than what you are, because you play with a much bigger ball and a much bigger club. So the miss hits are great. Now, when I go play probably next week and I shank a couple, bucket golf did nothing for me. But no, I took down about 10. Trevor's probably right about 20. So we took down about 30. I don't think that's terrible.
They know, yeah.
2-day span. Tracking down for 50,000, though, on the other hand, we got some work to do. But
do.
this was a great training day for us. We figured it out. I figured out Jello shots are. I didn't make them. My sister did. She did a great job.
She did an amazing job. I was going to say the quality of Jello shots
were
on the
amazing.
Steamsman's boat. They were the highest quality Jello shots I've ever had in my life.
They were Jerry's.
They were easy to get out, but they weren't like wet.
They were red, white, and blue. They were triple layered.
Yes.
So I found the recipe on TikTok. I was like, this would be super, super cool. Blue raspberry on the bottom, white unflavored gelatin in the middle, and cherry on top. They were amazing. You
Yeah,
couldn't
that's for
beat the
nothing more than
quality.
that.
It took us 8 hours to make them, but they were great. So no, Caitlin did a good job. Now, did the blue and the white sip in a little bit on a couple of them? Yeah, it did. You know, it wasn't fully filled up. I called those shark bites at that point. Murky water with red on top, that's blood. Shark bite. Celebrating the 50 years of Jaws.
That's right.
There's another idea for NBC and Universal, shark bite Jello shots to celebrate that. But no, all in all, it was good. Jerry, did you take down any Jello shots to maybe help us out? No, I bet you didn't.
I was not I was not on the wavelength this weekend. I did take down a fair amount of Liney Cool summer shandies to celebrate.
Nice.
Nothing's more St. Louis than summer shandy.
Gunshot summer shandy. There you go. No, I think SLMPD. You want to get on the S route, summer shandy, SLMPD. Rest like 80 kids. So there you go.
Nice.
That's your holiday weekend here in the lovely Gateway City. But no, whenever we get you guys down here, which will happen at some point, we keep talking about it. I'm figuring that out. We'll take down a couple more. That is a promise.
We got to.
Jerry, I feel like St. Louis, I feel like that's a city that just goes crazy for 4th of July, or am I just wrong on that?
The St. Louis County, get outside city limits. The more south you go, you get into Missouri. Oh yeah,
Okay.
Missouri. Yeah, it's a good time. Missouri. You go down the Ozarks. That's Missouri's Diamond Lake.
Okay.
Probably that on crack.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they start calling it Missouri, it's the Tigers. That's when you start having some real 4th of July celebrations. Missouri is they buy the most fireworks per capita per person.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So. Even though it is illegal in both St. Louis City and St. Louis County, which surrounds St. Louis City, to blow off fireworks, you wouldn't think so. That's one of those unenforced laws that goes by in this lovely area. But yeah, Missouri per person, per capita, buys the most fireworks in the country, and I would argue probably more than multiple nations.
Yeah,
you're probably right of that.
But yeah, it's insane. So we got that going for us. Big year for that with all the instability politically worldwide, especially a lot of fireworks up from China. That was a big story. Unironically, a big story. That just fabricating things for fun. That's something we actually thought about. But yeah, and I will say, even though I did not go to the downtown this year, fireworks at the Gateway Arch is cool as hell because it is a great background because you have the arch and then these fireworks popping right through, maybe right around. That is extremely cool. It is one of the best backgrounds I've seen, I think, ever. It is even, unless you're looking basically from Indiana or Michigan, and that's a really tough view. It's even better than a Chicagoland area where you don't have the background of the city per se because you're shooting them on the lake. Right down the Mississippi, absolutely gorgeous scene. And they had a drone show where they were showing off the Superman movie. So there's a shot somewhere of the Superman S in between the Gateway Arch.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, we're not there yet.
No, Caleb, we were actually I watched the fireworks at Caleb's house at the end of the night when everyone's just obliterated. We were in Caleb's backyard watching some fireworks, and I can't help. When I was watching them, I felt a little bit ridiculous because it's you just sit there and then an explosion happens and then everybody goes, ooh, or they're like, oh, I like that one. And then you just do that for 45 minutes. And I was kind of making fun of firework watching because, it is a little anticlimactic. And then it's you're waiting for the grand finale that you're oh, this is the one. And then they keep going. And you're oh, no, this is the one. And everyone's just kind of waiting for it to be over.
It's America. We just love watching stuff get blown up. I will say Trevor was pretty funny because he refused to move to also see all of them. So he was like behind my neighbor's garage for some of them. So then he'd be like, "Oh, Xander, did that one look good? Is that a good one for you there, man? Is that good? Does that one look good to you?" I can't tell.
Yeah, I couldn't see a
And
lot.
then he goes, and then like at first they're like him and Xander both, friend and also a viewer of the show, are like turned around, and he's like, "Oh, we're listening to fireworks," and everybody's like, "No, you're supposed to watch the fireworks." It was just so funny because Trevor was, and then he would talk, and then he'd stop talking for like 5 minutes, and then it was like too quiet for him. So he would start a conversation.
Well, that's what I also brought up. I'm like, am I supposed to be quiet during? Am I not allowed to have a conversation? It's like, but no, I was allowed to have conversations, but I just felt bad. Everyone was trying to enjoy the fireworks, and here I am, tens of beers in.
Hey, it's America. You can talk during the fireworks if you want. You can be quiet. That's what we have.
That's right. Yes.
America,
Yeah.
You can watch the fireworks how you want. You can.
Barry's getting canceled after this.
I'm not getting canceled for it. And Trevor's one be like, fireworks are overrated.
Yeah.
Canceled, like,
no. Trevor, no. The way stuff's going now is, Jerry, you're over patriotic. Trevor's like right there with everybody.
Yeah.
Trevor's too cool for the fireworks. You know.
That's right.
Yeah. Sorry.
I will also say this happened Friday. This is nothing to do with fireworks, but me and Nolan, who's in this chat, like we won at the casino, I will say. So for people that don't know, like we're big into cards, like sports cards, right? So they do these things called breaks on this app that we have called Whatnot, which if you're addicted to sports cards is probably the worst thing for somebody because you spend so much money on this app. Just a swipe, you can buy a card or packs. So they do these things called breaks where they do like 10 different packs of cards. So there's like probably like 150 cards total. They individually break it out to teams, and you can buy a team if you want. So this was a college break. We bought Notre Dame. That's who we like. We said, screw it. It was up for $250. We ended up getting it for $125. We're like, what a steal. We both split the pot there. So the break starts. We're doing pretty good. Nolan also bought Colorado and Michigan as well because he got a pretty good deal on it. So he did that. So your chance to get Travis Hunter, J.J. McCarthy, those are big names in the sport, right? So we're sitting there, and Nolan pulls this out of 50, which there's only 50 of these cards made, Travis Hunter card, which is like a $500 card. So he's like jumping up on my couch, like going crazy, like bricked up basically. Is what So then we're sitting there, and we got some good Notre Dame cards, quite a few cards, like because there's a potential that you could buy into a team and you could get skunked where you don't get a card at all. But a team like Notre Dame, you're most likely to get a card, just depends on the value. So we get down to the last pack, and this guy goes, he's like, what they do is like, and I hate this because I'm like, show me the card, but they'll like fake you out where they slowly pull the card back from the card in front of it, and they're like, oh, we got a red here. And he goes 5 out of 5. I'm like, okay, there's still a chance. We're looking for Jeremiah Love. That's who we were looking for. Notre Dame's running back, potential Heisman Trophy winner, has a chance to be – he's going to be the first running back taken next year in the draft. It's a fact. We've been chasing him. He's like the hardest card to find. This guy goes, 5 out of 5. And we're like, okay. He pulls it down, reveals the helmet. It's gray. I'm like, we lost. I'm like, we're screwed. We went on this chase. We're screwed. And then all of a sudden, he like pulls the card out, and it's a Jeremiah Love 5 out of 5 autographed card. And I jump up and I'm like, holy fucking shit. Like, I know it's a kids program, but dude, it was just like, I just won the Super Bowl. And like, I literally was getting interviewed by Jim Nance, and I was going to Disneyland the next day. It's like what it was like. And we're like, oh my God. And mind you, it's not just an autograph. So it's J Love. That's what his signature is. It's the coolest thing ever. It's just J Love. And then it says Go Irish, which in scripted makes it even more valuable. Mm-hmm. But 5 out of 5 is crazy. So we're like, for $125, we got a card that is probably, I don't even know, $1,500 plus, probably $2,000.
Oh, wow.
Now, we're never going to sell it most likely because we're Notre Dame fans. So now we're going to have custody of a card with each other. and we have to figure that out. But it was like one of the greatest things. I was like, mind you, it was like 11:30 at night when this happened, and I'm like, I can't go to bed. Like, we walked around the neighborhood. We were like on a high. Like, it was crazy. It was one of those things that, like, it was maybe close to, like, people say like their child being born is the greatest day of their life. That's probably mine. It was up there.
You're dang right, dude. And that happened on the 4th of July. That's what
it was actually on the 4th.
That's what
it's all
about.
It.
That's what it's about right
4th.
there.
Yeah, I'm going to hold on to it during the football season. I guess he's going to hold on to the winter. I guess he doesn't think that the football season falls in the winter, so we're going to have to figure that out. But yeah, but it was like, I know that, like, you guys can't see anything anytime I'm like showing a picture, but I do have a picture of it. We took a screenshot, and everybody, so there's people in the chat. There was like, I don't even know how many people watching, like probably 40 or 50. And everybody's just like, oh my God, that's like the biggest card of the night. So Nolan pulled the Travis Hunter, which up until the point we got Jeremiah Love was the biggest card of the night. Like, it's just a massive card. And then we pulled Jeremiah Love, and it was like, oh my, everybody's going crazy. And then they do a stream afterwards, and they're like, what's the biggest card? They're like, oh, Jeremiah Love 5/5. Everybody's like, no way, dude. Like, no way. It's like, no, we're dominant. So we won at the casino. We'll probably get in another break and probably lose ourselves. But the way
scare money don't make money, Caleb.
Yeah, we're up, dude. It's crazy. But I will say that was probably, like, it had nothing to do with 4th of July, but it was just
well, yeah, I have fallen into a weird appreciation of trading cards again. I have not bought any.
They're expensive, Jerry. They're expensive.
I know. I'm not on that. House don't pay for itself. But I have fallen back into it because of the show. This is the first year in years I've bought MLB The Show.
Oh, it's
because
great.
I'm terrible at the show in general.
Yeah.
But I fell right back in love because there is a Jim Thome Diamond Dynasty card that I got my hands on.
Oh,
one of those things. And that is my favorite baseball player.
Jim Thome
is my favorite baseball player. He still actually lives in the Chicagoland area. He coaches at Nazareth Academy. I think we've talked about this in the past. He is my favorite baseball player of all time. And I've been really thinking a lot about baseball, especially with this is more sad news, but I'll get us to be happy later. Trust me. I'm thinking about all my White Sox. We just we almost swept the Rockies. But this week we are celebrating the life of Bobby Jenks as well. Is another big sports story that we kept in mind. Next week, the 2005 White Sox team will be back in the city. So that'll be obviously a very fitting tribute for the closer, guy bigger than himself. For those who may not remember, Ozzie Guillen pull one of these to call him out, calling out for the big guy. So for my fellow White Sox fans, which probably no one watches here, that's a very specific call outside from one of our favorite managers. But it's been fun because this is the first time in years I've started actually watching the White Sox again in some degree because of the show with all the cool cards, like an old Jim Thome. There's like a Tim Anderson card I want to get my hands on, and all of that. And Caleb, you may have thought of something different since we're talking about sports games and we're talking about teams and all that. I do not have the game yet, and I don't know when I'll be buying it, but College Football 26 coming out here very, very shortly.
Yeah, I just bought it today.
I would say I'm waiting a little bit because I think 25 is very, very good, and I'm still grinding out the show for a bit. But I need to ask because I'm still figuring it out myself. I know I have a little bit more time. Who is going to be your guys' first dynasties if you're buying this year's game? Mine last year, for context, was Louisiana Monroe. We took a fun row, as it's called down there, to the promised land a couple times. Great time to do that. Stayed in, if I remember, the Sun Belt. To do so. We never moved up to the big old SEC because it doesn't mean more when you're playing in Louisiana Monroe, baby. We are known as the Alabama Killers down there. We took down Saban before, but I need to know here how much thought's been put into the first dynasty of this year. I think I have an answer, but I have to let you guys go first because my hands will not be on this game.
Okay, so I did do this dynasty last year, but since like NCAA 09, I have had like this weird obsession with North Texas.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah. And so our buddy who me and Caleb both played football with, Tyrese Hunt Thompson, he has just transferred from Ferris State to North Texas. Yeah, so it would be really cool to like have him on the squad potentially and try to win something. He is like a senior though, so he won't be there very long, but let's try to get that dude drafted, baby. But yeah, North Texas. I'm gonna go with North Texas.
I will. That's a great choice, Trevor. That's a great choice. I do this team because it's a funky stadium. It's it's a beautiful stadium, but it's small. It's intimate. It's a Mountain West school, and that is Wyoming.
You're one
Mm.
of those.
It
Wyoming's a
is
fun one.
awesome. Their uniforms are sweet. The yellow with the brown. It's like, what do you mean yellow with the brown? No, it's great together in the game. Wyoming, Josh Allen went there. So when I
Mhm.
recruit, it's like, hey, Josh Allen went here. You can too.
Yeah.
That's what you got to think about it. But it does change this year a little bit. Like coaches are in the game now.
Mhm.
So that changes it up a little bit. So that will be cool. But no, so I bought it. It comes out tomorrow. I don't foresee me playing it just yet. I may hop on once just to look at everything. But no, Jerry, I'm with you. I'm on MLB The Show. I didn't know you were a shower as well.
This has been for a
Um,
couple weeks. This is very much the doldrums of the summer. Again, first time I bought it in years. I don't play online. I'm terrible.
Me too.
People want to
So-
see the squad, Jerry. They want a squad update from you.
Oh yeah, we should do
If
that.
you didn't
Honestly,
know-
I will send you a picture by next Sunday. We could show them next Sunday.
Yeah.
I'll show
So-
my squad. We can show Jerry's squad. Nolan and Luke Hoxie are big into this game as well. Luke Hoxie didn't touch grass all weekend because he was playing this game.
Yeah, I don't have that type of. I have this. I played a little yesterday. I took a couple day break. I obviously went to Mexico, so I didn't play that whole time. But it's just been It's a very good time killer. If I didn't get this game, I would have probably got College Football 26. But there's a lot of fun White Sox cards, and it's the only reason I realistically play it. Like I've kept Miguel Vargas in my lineup for a really long time. Miguel Vargas, Benintendi, Frank Thomas was in there for a bit. Yoan Moncada's 83 overall card, which is terrible, just like he was for the White Sox. It's very fitting. Savale, when he got traded, I've kept him on the starting rotation just for vibes. But I will put a real squad update. Oh, I also have 2 Adam Dunns, but I run the White Sox one half the time for fun, which is worse than the really good one he has. It's like a 25-foot home run one. So
Yeah.
it's very much so. And I will answer my own question with a question I'm still trying to figure out a bit. Because again, I have a little bit of time. I've not gotten 26. I don't know when I will. Probably when it goes on sale, probably around the college football season. I'm really torn if I go somewhere new, like a Delaware.
Ooh,
First
Delaware.
year and go to the Blue Hens. That's
Joe
very fun.
Flacco, Delaware. Yeah,
Very, very fun team. If I want to be a trader, I go with Missouri State. That's another one's been on the mind. Springfield, Missouri is a very, very interesting place, and it's Missouri. That's where we were talking about the Ozarks earlier. That's not Missouri. That's Missouri.
Yeah.
Or stay in the MAC. I love rebuilding a good MAC team.
UMass. Try UMass, Gerald.
I did a little bit of UMass last year. I didn't ever finish it because I started my first one. I told you guys, Louisiana Monroe, took on the Prominence. Then later in the year, because I started playing other games, I did a coach where I started as a coordinator.
That's always fun.
I'm like, let me see how far I could get. And I was a UMass head coach for a year. I did real well, and I got offered the Nebraska job. I still not made a decision. Do I go rebuild Big Red? Right. It sounds like Matt Rule in my game was not doing the job. Or do I stay with the Minutemen for a little bit longer? They've given me my shot, and they are back in the MAC, where they're going to be very soon if they're not this year. But it seemed like Akron always seems like fun. I always loved Eastern Michigan, but they're too good right now. They've been too much fun. I applied to Central Michigan going to college, so I thought about them always. The Chips,
nice.
Fire up Chips.
Fire up Chips. Yeah. What about Western Michigan? That's where
I hate Western Michigan. No, it's really because I hate Kalamazoo. This is something that if I'm going to get canceled today, it's for that. I think Kalamazoo is a dump. I've always said this.
Oh my God, Luke, Jerry, Luke, and these boys are going to grill you.
That's fine. Go right ahead. Kalamazoo is a dump. Every time
That's so awesome.
either I've hated it. I hated it. Even the downtown area is kind of weak. Like it is like professional Kalamazoo hater. That is about all I got going for me. And I will still unironically drink Bell and Everon and all this while hating on Kalamazoo completely and utterly. Because I was at Kalamazoo College too. Like that place is. When I visited Western, because I know a bunch of kids from my high school went to Western, it was a dead, dry, weird area. It's okay, going. It's all right. You know what? It is what it is. But man, it's hard. It's hard for me to like. It's hard for me to like Kalamazoo, man. I've never found anything there that is really worth keeping. Hey, man.
Oh, no.
I have really good news for you, Luke. I'll never be in the zoo. I don't like it there.
No, Jerry, like, so they're from Three Rivers. So Kalamazoo is like their South Bend, Mishawaka.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's like we
that's
have
fine.
South Bend and Mishawaka, which we tout as like the greatest city of all time because that's our only civilization around here
Mhm.
to go do stuff. That's the same for them. So yeah, they are,
Take
zoo
the trip to
rats.
Grand Rapids. Sorry. I know it's a little extra mileage. Take the trip to Grand Rapids. Like, Grand Rapids, great city. Love Grand Rapids. It's fantastic. The fact that it's paired with Kalamazoo for a lot of things. Such a way.
Yeah, that is true. That is true because I have hung out in both of those places, and like Grand Rapids is far superior
Grand Rapids,
to
amazing.
Kalamazoo.
Great
Yeah, yeah.
I think I remember Jerry telling me this about Kalamazoo, which is so funny because it's like just who watches this thing is people that love.
Oh, I know. I have pissed off a majority of our audience in some way, shape, or form. And this is someone who is very pro Michigan.
Yeah.
Like, sister goes to Michigan State. So, like, I've repped East Lansing before. I've seen Ann Arbor, even with that in mind. I've seen Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor is a great college town. Used to hang out in Charlevoix a lot as a kid. I can see what case. Yeah, man, it's okay. Can't do it all, but oh God, no, man. Yeah, and I'm very pro Michigan. Detroit's an underrated city just in general.
It's great. I was just there a month ago. It's great.
That was awesome. I saw a Pistons game. That's a fun time. I've always wanted to go see Comerica as a White Sox guy to go up there. Yeah, I'm very pro Michigan except for Kalamazoo. Like it's so bad, man. Like, I'm repping Beaver Island over freaking Kalamazoo. Yeah, Beaver Island, the island within Lake Michigan, one of the many. I'm repping over Kalamazoo, which again, shout out to Bell, shout out to Oberon. Like, great beer comes out of there, but you need it to live in Kalamazoo. So, like, too hard is the only thing that keeps you going.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind Kalamazoo. I was born in Kalamazoo, actually.
That explains a lot.
I was born in Kalamazoo, then moved south, of course. Moved to Michigan. I got out of there, But no, I don't mind Kalamazoo. It's a little bit farther away for us, but we used to always go up there and do stuff. So yeah, I mean, your hatred for it, Jerry, is hilarious.
Sorry.
It's just fun. It's just so funny though, because it's like just picturing somebody from Chicago and being like, what city in Michigan do you hate the most? Kalamazoo. It's just random because it's like Chicago, Kalamazoo don't really.
You would be surprised. And we got Luke, on the chat. How many guys from Chicago do you know that went to Western? Because I know, for example, my graduating class from my high school, which is a couple hundred kids, had at least 10 plus, which we don't have that happen often, right? And that's, again, an out-of-state school. Not one of the primary, again, Michigan State, Michigan. This is one of the directional Michigans, which there are plenty of, right? We had at least 10 plus from our class go. I know they recruited the Chicagoland area, but yeah, see, there is a weird amount of people go to Kalamazoo. They do a really good job of getting kids there, really affordable education, all that. Like Western Michigan, the school, fine. Kalamazoo, disgusting. It just is
when he's on campus, he's fine, folks. It's when he walks off.
Even when I was on campus, I wasn't impressed, but I was like, you know what? I respect the Broncos. It's okay. We got love where it is. Shout out PJ Fleck for the time he was there. I know my ball a little bit. I'm not just completely coming in here blind, right? But no, me and Kalamazoo don't mesh, and that is it's very weird. But wouldn't I really not be an FIP or what was it? If I was like, oh yeah, South Holland's great. New Buffalo, Michigan, awesome. Right? So it's maybe I am fitting the stereotype more than I'd like to admit. But
Jerry, they did just win the national championship.
They did. Congratulations. You've done it more recently than Mizzou. I can even tell you that because we don't have one in recent memory. So, game recognizes game. They were in the city of St. Louis. You know who I didn't go and see? Western Michigan. That's when they won their national title. There you go. You know what? See, I know my ball. I ain't flying here blind. You know what, man?
You know what? I respect it, dude. Whenever you come on here and you say how you feel, dude, and I can get behind that. All right, I love that.
They're more enemies than me because they know you. I hide somewhere far down south. They can go to your house.
Yeah, dude. I'm 45 minutes away, dude.
You don't have to defend me.
No.
Location unknown. Like, generally, like the city of St. Louis, a lot to find. It's gonna be taking you guys a minute to find me, right? Trev, they know where you were at.
Yeah, they know where I live, dude.
So I wish you more luck than me. And I'm sorry that I've killed half our viewership. Luckily, we have the cryptocurrency community
That's right.
to save us now.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully what saves me a little bit is I currently attend Western Michigan University, so I can say whatever I want about Western. I have not taken a single class on campus, but I do technically go to the university.
Supporting the Kalamazoo economy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, shoveling them boatloads of money, baby.
Oh my God, Jerry, I do respect it how we have a very pro Kalamazoo audience, and you come on here and you just throw your hatred towards Kalamazoo, but look,
we appreciate that, Nolan.
They're not gonna
just
hurt
know
you.
if you ever see a photo like that near my area, bad things
Yeah.
Yeah, watch out for saunas.
He's lurking in them.
All-Star game talk. Is the All-Star game next week?
It's a week. I think next week. The big storyline, I think, out of it, at least for the Cubs' perspective, as a White Sox guy, Shane, whatever, made it. So we have one All-Star. Don't know how we did that. We're still 20 plus games under 500. Suzuki didn't make it. That was kind of the big one because I know we have a pro Cub audience. Again, another team I hate. I'm really on fire right now. I know he got snubbed, or at least that's kind of the common sentiment I saw in the immediate reaction. It's weird. This is a really weird year, just in general when it comes to baseball. Like a lot of I feel like a lot of the stars are just doing fine. And then you have a couple guys who are doing really, really well, right? But every year with an all-star, things like this. I can win back audiences, as I know. I work real hard for this title.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of teams I think are built really well with not as many stars, right? Like Shohei's been fine. Paul Skeen's been really good. I know that. What's the guy for the Tigers? We should know this.
Screwball.
He's been fantastic. I think they are both the starters, School and Skeens are your starters this year. You have a couple rivalries. I think the Rays didn't get anybody, which I thought was weird.
Well, everybody gets one person.
It was weird. Something
should get one person.
I forget who I saw that either didn't get one or whatever they got wasn't great.
It's July 15th next week, so I think we can dive more into that next Sunday. Before the game. We can also do the home run derby. We'll go into that. We could probably pick our guys for that. I will shout out Jacob Wilson, though, starting shortstop for the American League. He's a rookie for the A's. Everybody loves Bobby Witt, and he was able to get the fan vote to start over him, which is awesome. He's like the youngest A ever. I mean, I know with the A's moving out of Oakland, now they're in Sacramento in a minor league park, not a Vegas. There's a lot of turmoil around it. But for them to, get a starter in, I thought was pretty cool in it for being a rookie. To kind of the future is up. Luke Hoxie, best pitcher in the league. Screwball is. Yeah, he is. Like, me and Nolan, we went to Detroit. We watched the Cubs play the Tigers, and it just so happened Friday night. Screwball was throwing. The dude is nuts. He's amazing. He's great, and he's electric. Chris Cox just stopped by to say hello. Great job there. Okay, peace. There you go, Chris Cox. But no, Screwball is he is electric to watch. He's nuts. I don't know why they took him out last week, Sunday Night Baseball. Maybe to preserve arms, but no, he's fun to watch. He is cocky, and he's that old school pitcher. Like he wants to go the entire game. He wants to throw it into your chin and knock you out, basically. So no, it's great. Baseball's been. It's had its moments. It has been weird because it's one of those things where, like I said, you talk about it at the beginning, you talk about it around these next 2 weeks, and then we don't talk about it again for a while. But it has been weird. Injuries, kind of quiet with some guys. Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, greatest nickname of all time. He's killing it. He has like 35 home runs already. But no.
PCA has been really good.
Pete Crow Armstrong is amazing. He's not been good, Jerry. He's been amazing.
I can't even argue that. He's
amazing. This guy is electric. He dyes his hair different colors. He had like blue stars in his hair for the longest time. He's a great defender. Everybody's like, oh, he's a good defender, but can he hit? Well, now he's like drilling the ball. He can take a low curve ball and maybe hit it farther than Sammy Sosa. And
that's what shocked me.
PCA is clean. He's clean, man.
Sammy Sosa did come back this year to Wrigley.
No, it's great that he's back.
PCA started hitting the ball real well. That sometimes the math does itself, but unironically, he has been one of the wildest things I've seen, at least in my memory of recent baseball, because you think of a guy like PCA who's so fast, a great defender, feels like he can steal any base, usually a contact hitter, right? Like you're not expecting him to also bomb over 20 home runs. He is one of the guys I legitimately hate, but in a good way, as like, you're so good, I hate you because you're on my opposite team, but I respect you because he's been so fantastic. As a White Sox guy, I hate watching him, but I know he's so good. Like that's been a fun developing storyline. I think the Cardinals Cubs series, which is going on right now, Cardinals are down 3-0. Or if you want to phrase it the other way, Cubs are up 3-0.
Darn.
Well, like that's been a fun series. 4th of July, the Cubs hit 8 home runs on the Cardinals.
America's team.
Next game, it's a back and forth. The backup catcher, who's been like this, we were talking about mythical figures with Bobby Jenks. This guy, Pozo, Pozo, looks like Ryan Poles, has kind of turned into a mythical figure for the Cardinals. Hits a 3-run jack after just coming in to pitch hit. That was a lot of fun. But I have a feeling that there might be some more batting practice at Wrigley today because they just had Eric Fetty on the mound. That's just not been very good for the St. Louis Cardinals, as a team I now know about because I live here in St. Louis. But very interesting time of year. We're going to probably get more. Well, this show's got to end at some point. We're going to get into our baseball bag.
Yeah,
soon.
We'll dive into baseball next week for sure. Luke Hock's talking about Max Clark promoted AA.
Colson Montgomery's in the show. I mean, we want to get deep in the bag.
Max Clark wishes he was. I will say it to Luke Hoxie. He knows what I'm talking about. Young prospect in the Tigers system. We'll end on this. Nolan Mark, juice should be allowed. I mean, should or shouldn't. It was allowed in the 90s. They profited off it. Trying to see Juice Shohei at the mound and on the plate. Well, that'd be interesting. Because, I mean, if him and Aaron Judge did Juice, I couldn't even tell you what would happen.
Oh, that'd be disgusting.
But if you put these guys that juiced in the era now with the baseball and the way things are, it'd be nuts too. So we figured out a lot today. Good show, long show, great interaction. We figured out Jerry hates Kalamazoo, but for Kalamazoo, that's better off for you because every city Jerry goes to, the team starts to suffer. So that's good for you. So he'll stay far away, and you guys can continue to be national champions. With that being said, we'll be back next week. I think I'm going to be in the woods for next week's show. I'm going up north.
God, not again, dude. Jerry, at least it's not freaking draft day this time.
I think we'll do a 4-hour show. But I'll be in the woods. I will not be on the road, but I'll be in the woods.
Get some Starlink, bro.
I'll figure it out. Maybe on my phone, and I may have burned my hand. But that's just how it is. So I'll end with a couple of these 80+ homers is what they think. Juice Judge would be 80+. Mickey Mouse Park, live stream in a car, potentially.
We've done that before. Just find out the Wi-Fi code.
I'm all for it. Jerry and Trevor hold it down. What I'm thinking is there's a bar I love up north. It's a little dump right on the river. It's called the Pinehurst. I've coined it the Piney. I may do it from there. There's a guy who.
Bar is terrible.
There's a guy who sings that his name is Alvis instead of Elvis, and it's great. So I may be from that bar. The shots that we do are called Dirty Whore Bathwater. So that tells you all you need to know about that place. So I may be doing a couple of those during the show next week. But with that being said, we will be back next Sunday to give you everything you want and more, because we talk about the things other sports shows don't talk about, like Joey Chestnut versus Usain Bolt in a hot dog 100-meter race. That's what we do. Thanks for watching.